Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome, and as we get ready to rock and roll here from the beautiful Homestead-Miami Speedway, as our first elimination race of the playoffs are about to get underway. Drivers are getting ready to duke it out, knowing that their chances at the championship could come to a close here this evening. So each and every one of these competitors trying to set themselves up nicely here, looking for a big run, a great run, and an opportunity to continue their championship dreams alive here this evening. Brandon Holder out there on the racetrack. We saw right now it is Jonathan Gaston, beautiful looking paint scheme for Gaston. He sits in position number 1 here, quickest there in qualifying. Michael Ware back in third. Danny White, our points leader, coming into this race into the 4th position now as Brandon Dayoff jumps up into the number 1 position. So for the West Virginia number 71 ride, Brandon Dayoff now with the quick time here in qualifying, laying down a blazing fast lap here this evening, and he'll hope to keep it that way because there's going to be a lot of other drivers out there that are going to hope to try to knock him off that top spot. We do see Andrew Floyd in that beautiful Pizza Planet ride, jumps out there onto the racetrack. Floyd looking for a big run and a great lap here. We see Nathan Brookover now jumping out on the speedway in his beautiful Kiss ride. The Kiss number 27 ready to rumble here this evening as Brad Neer also jumping out onto the track here. So Neer jumping out there in the Cheerios Pop Street ride, jumps out onto the racetrack, and Sean Merriman also jumping out there in the Metallica number 81, the Dr. Pepper Wild Cherry number 81 ride, the Metallica ride, ready to go to battle, ready to get things set loose here in this one for what's going to be a great night of racing. As we do see Brookover jumps up into the 10th position, Sean Merriman jumps into 14th, Andrew Floyd back in 15th, as Brad Neer looks like he's gonna take that car back down pit side. Doesn't look like he's gonna jump out there as of yet, so it looks like about 4 cars yet to qualify, one of those being Scott Healy. Healy probably gonna be one of those drivers to keep an eye on here throughout this feature event is Andrew Floyd. Floyd jumps up into the 9th position. Great lap right there for Andrews. He jumps up into the 9th spot. Unfortunately for Sean, Merriman does not get that second lap in as the checkered flag will fly here in our qualifying session, and that means it's time to go. Our main feature event about to get underway as these drivers get ready to be set loose. Let's jump into a quick word here with our main man, Lonnie Crider, for our opening command here today.
Don't be afraid. I want to pass you on the track tonight because I'm running for a championship, and I'm the great bucking. And I'm going to be watching for you. So start those engines and don't be afraid to race.
Alrighty, shout out there to Mr. Crider coming in with our opening command as these drivers will get ready to battle. They will get ready to duke it out here in this one as Dayoff will start in that pole position. He'll start out in front and he'll look to try to keep all of these drivers back there at bay, trying to keep himself at the front of the field, looking for a big win here in this one as everyone getting loaded into the sim. Every one of them looking for the win here in this one. We'll see who's going to come out with it, who's going to end up with that top spot here this evening, as I do believe this elimination race, I could be wrong, I do believe it's three drivers, or potentially, I'm not sure if it's more drivers, I don't know. We may have to check that out. We may have to try to figure that out because it's definitely going to be a few drivers here getting eliminated here this evening. See if we can get the standings up here so everyone can get a great look at them. Alrighty, let's see if we can make this a little bit bigger for us. Alrighty, so let's take a quick look here before we get rolling out on the racetrack. This is our standings coming into tonight's feature event. So this is after Talladega last week, our first playoff race. So coming in here tonight, Danny White with a pretty decent lead here. He's got a couple points between himself and Brian Underwood. Gaston's right there as well. Gaston a little farther back at 2,050 points. Farrell Robbins right there behind him. James Robbins there in the sheet. So for Farrell Robbins, he is is locked into the next round with the win last week at Talladega Super Speedway for Melvin Brenker, Ben Gleason, Josh Crider, Nathan Brookover. It's got to be some nervous times, especially if you're one of those drivers that are very, very close here to what could be that cut line somewhere right around that, right around that 8th, 9th position, somewhere in there. And you see the 9th place drivers, Chris Getz, Brandon Holder, Jordan Crider, and Michael Ware all back there. So it's going to get very, very interesting to see who's going to be able to try to navigate their way into the next round of our playoffs. As we get them locked, stocked, ready to rock and roll here in this one, as out in front, leading us to the green flag in the number 71, it is Brandon Dayhuff. Dayhuff here, blinking a little bit. There's the 71. Ryan Gill take us to the green flag. It's Gaston Ware, Danny White, Wyatt Youngblood, Melvin Brengerer, Josh Crider, Brandon Holder, Kevin Calkins, and Andrew Floyd, who will round out our top 10 as we're going to end all the anticipation with our feature presentation as we are quickly back to green flag racing here in this one. As Brandon Dayhuff with a great launch and a great start here to this race. He'll take us nice and easy down through corner 1 and out of 2. Will lead us back down the back straightaway, trying to give himself an extra edge, an extra advantage here between himself and the rest of the field, trying to open up an early race lead to keep these guys back there behind him, back at bay here in this feature event. So nice and easy down and out of corner number 4, down across the line. It is Dayhuff who will lead lap number 1. So Dayhuff out in front early on, as Ware sits right there in second. Wyatt Youngblood up and into third. Josh Crider quickly into fourth with Andrew Floyd. Now into the 5th position here as Danny White slides back a couple spots here. White now sits back in position number 6. Brengerer also back a few spots. And we see Jonathan Gaston in that red rum. Gaston iRacing Graphics number 72 machine. He sits back here in about the 10th position. He's already fallen back 7 spots on the racetrack. Not a fun spot here for Jonathan Gaston to be. So he's got Sean Wilder and the 81 of Sean Merriman down to his inside. Brandon Holder right there as well, trying to work his ride up towards the front here. The 31 trying to find that extra bit of a groove here. Is a lot of these drivers, it's going to come down to a lot of just being patient, biding your time, making sure you make the right move at the right time, and obviously trying to make sure you keep these tires alive here. This could be a very long green flag run kind of a race here, and for a lot of these drivers, having these longer green flag runs could open up the door for you to run into issues or start to slide back later in this run. So if you can take it easy on the tires, give up a little bit at the start to get a little bit more back later on in the race, is definitely something that these drivers are going to be thinking of here. Is already 3 laps down. We do see a lead change as Michael Ware now out in front, able to take the race lead away from Brandon Dayhuff. Dayhuff back into second now as we see Wyatt Youngblood and Josh Crider trying to chase down the 71 and our race leader here on the speedway. Bit of a gap back to our 5th place driver, Nathan Brookover. Brookover early on here up 6 positions. Now inside the top 5 is that beautiful Kiss ride. Rolls there in that 5th position. Andrew Floyd back in 6th. You do see the 31 ride shoot down almost into the infield right there. That is Brandon Holder. Holder, one of our playoff drivers that was right around that bubble. He's got to be very, very cautious. He's got to be very, very careful. This is a long race. Still a lot of laps, still a lot of time to try to navigate and work your way up and into potentially a win here this evening, or just a good enough run to put yourself into a transfer spot into the next round of our playoffs. So for a lot of these drivers, they're just kind of hanging on, continue to battle, continue to put on a show, and they're going to continue to try to keep on racing hard here this evening. Is out in front for a lot of these drivers. Some big moves, some big movement out there on the racetrack. Everyone's still trying to slowly but surely navigate their way up to the point here, as we do see Josh Crider. He's able to work his way around Wyatt Youngblood, and we do see Dayhuff back around Michael Ware. So Ware only jumps up there, leads a few laps, now falls back into that 2nd spot on the speedway. We do see Danny White still back here, though. Danny, unfortunately, back 5 positions on the racetrack for Jonathan Gaston, now back 9 positions here. So a pair of our front runners from last week, 2 drivers that came into this race with a good little bit of a points gap between them and the rest of the field. You see the 6th ride of Underwood right there as well. Maybe going to give up some stage points and try to just keep themselves in this battle for late in the race. Obviously, for the 31 rider, Brandon Holder, he's going to have to probably try to get onto the gear here and see if he can try to earn some stage points, knowing that they're going to be super valuable for him to try to advance into the next round as he gets super sideways out of corner number 2. Oh, baby, look out. That was a hell of a save right there. Out of the 31, let's take a look back and see what happens here. Is down and out of corner number 2. I don't know if he just loses the rear end of this race car. But man, this thing was a round, and right here you're going to see there's contact between him and Kevin Conkin, and luckily enough, he's able to save it, keep it rolling as he comes back up the track there a little bit. Does not collect any of these other drivers, able to keep it just strolling here on the speedway. Lucky break there for him, because that could have been a whole lot worse in a quick hurry. As Brandon Dayup, though, continues to lead the way, it's Crider now looking to take over second from Michael Ware, and it looks like down the front straightaway here, oh, it's tight, but unfortunately the big run on the outside lane for the 75, but now they make contact. Look out. Oh, baby. Beating and banging early on here from Homestead-Miami Speedway. And unfortunately for Michael Ware, he continues to get the worst end of it. A little contact right there between him and Brookover. Almost shoved him up into the outside fence there in corner number 2. Luckily enough, able to catch it, able to keep it rolling. And he keeps it strolling now into that 7th position. Josh Ryder, who may have gotten some pretty good contact and damage out of that issue down into corner number 1. Now has Wyatt Youngblood into his inside here. Youngblood looking to try to make that move, trying to work his way up into position number 2, and it's exactly what Brandon Dayhuff wants to see. Dayhuff loves to see this in his rearview mirror, knowing that these drivers are beating and banging, they're duking it out, they're door to door back there, and it's allowing the 71 ride to start to open up a little bit more of a lead, a little bit more of an advantage that he can try to use here later in this run to try to put himself into a good spot. As down across the line, they'll click off 11 laps of racing action here at the beautiful Homestead-Miami Speedway. As Dayuff, Crider, and Youngblood still are top 3 out there on the speedway. Andrew Floyd has raced his way now into 4th with Sean Merriman. They're in 5th. Nathan Brookover slides back into the 6th position as Michael Ware quickly back to his rear bumper, as Ware's going to try to race his way back up towards the front. Sean Wilder, Brian Underwood, and Danny White are top 10 out there on the speedway. Gaston's right there in 11th with Melvin Brangruer and Kevin Calkins rounding out our top 13. Brad Neer and Dustin Sleightler, though, looking to split that 11 ride, looking to try to get around Kevin Calkins and trying to steal that 13th and 14th position away from him, as now you do see Brangruer right there into the mix, as well as Brangruer kind of wash up the track there for the 19 ride. Stays in the battle, though, still sits in about he's back now into about 14th now, 15th, 16th now, as here comes Farrell Robbins down to his inside. Farrell, after picking up last week's win, he's got a no-stress race here. He can try to dictate and help his teammates, try to work them into potentially a win here this evening, or just some good finishes, because the 76 ride, he knows that he's locked in. He's punched his ticket with the win last week at Talladega Super Speedway. He will move on to the next round of the playoffs. He will not have to worry. He will not have to stress about this elimination race here today. For drivers like Brandon Holder, though, a little farther back, already running into some issues for the 31. He may be in trouble. And for Jordan Crider, who's back here as well, the 33 ride seems to be struggling here this evening, as the Pony Express machine back there in position number 20. Scott Healy, who I thought was going to be one of the drivers to really duke it out and battle for the win here this evening. Healy, unfortunately, did not jump out there, did not qualify, has not jumped into this race. And for Healy, he's back in about the 21st position, obviously now about 14, 15 laps down, as we do see the caution flag fly, and it's for the 6th ride. Our back-to-back champion here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, as Brian Underwood goes for a bit of a ride here. Let's take a look. So Underwood trying to make the pass on the 75 ride. See if there's, looked like there was going to definitely be some contact here, so let's take a look at it. Here we go, 75 down low, 6 right up high. 75 just pushes up the racetrack, nowhere else for the 6 right to go. He's already virtually at the fence, and 75 keeps coming up, gets into him, and then just going to drive right on through him here on corner exit. Unfortunately for Brian Underwood, man, that is not a fun spot to be. That is not a fun spot to have an issue, and obviously he got a little lucky right there, making sure that the car does not get into the outside fence too hard. Didn't get into the inside fence either. Let's see if we can get another look at this one. Alrighty, so for Kevin Ware, unfortunately here, Michael Ware, not Kevin Ware, for Michael Ware here, just gets in there, trying to work that throttle, trying to work his way down on the inside lane. You can see him losing some speed. He's shifting gears. Now he's getting back into the throttle, and the car just pushes up the racetrack, has to roll out of it, and then as he's kind of getting back into it, unfortunately, 6th ride already there, getting contact and going around it. Unfortunately for the 6th ride, that will lose a ton of track position for Brian Underwood. Luckily enough, not huge damage or carnage there for Underwood here in that wreck. But for all these other drivers, it opens up the door here for some pit strategy, and we see pretty much everybody head down pit road. The only driver did not come down pit side was Andrew Floyd. Floyd's going to stay out here. So for the 10 ride, not coming down pit side, I think that's going to make things very interesting here. Obviously, we didn't really see any of these drivers take tires or anything, so I don't think we're going to have that to worry about, but he's going to take the less fuel and just going to go with, yeah, you see our race leader here. All these guys are going to come in. They're just going to get fuel only. Make sure they get their cars topped up. Make sure that they are good to get to the end of this stage and not having to worry about that. As you see Youngblood and Crider head in there. Here comes the 79, the 75, right? So all these drivers getting fuel and jumping back out onto the racetrack. And for the 10 machine of Andrew Floyd, he's going to now be in a very, very curious position because he's going to be on the same tires. Less fuel, though. Will the track position pay dividends for him, or will potentially this number 10 car have to make an unscheduled pit stop down pit road? And if you gotta come down during green flag action, you can't make it to the end of this stage. For the 10 ride, making that green flag pit stop could cost you a lap, could cost you 2 laps, could also open up the window for potentially more issues and potential, penalties here. So we'll have to wait and see if he can make his way down pit side here, either under another caution flag or potentially during green flag action and not get penalized down there, not make a pit road speeding penalty here and give away what has been so far a pretty successful day for Andrew as he's raced his way up inside the top 5 in that Pizza Planet ride. And now with the pit stops, he's our race leader. He's the control car. So if you're on the restart, he gets to dictate when we fire off. He gets to dictate when we go to green flag racing here as down through the Geico restart zone. He'll be the first one to be able to launch away as the Dynaco ride. Ready to rock and roll, ready to go to battle. Here in this one, let's see what he can do as down into the Geico restart zone. He's trying to catch everyone sleeping, and he does a great job. Does get a pretty decent restart right there. Great launch over that 71 right now. Brandon Dayhoff. Dayhoff got caught sleeping there ever so slightly. That will open up the door down low for Josh Crider to try to work his way around him here. And Crider's going to look to try to navigate his way up into the point here. He'll be the first one now to potentially try to go after Andrew Floyd for this race lead. Is Dayhoff right there in third. Sean Merriman in the Metallica ride into position number 4. Great run here for that Dr. Pepper ride as you do see Wyatt Youngblood. Look out, Youngblood washes up the racetrack as here comes the 27 ride. Gonna give him a kiss right there on the back bumper for that beautiful Gene Simmons. Throwback paint scheme here. Beautiful looking paint scheme here on the 27 ride. This is actually an Ace Frehley. Rest in peace. Okay, Ace Frehley. Beautiful, beautiful paint scheme. Beautiful paint scheme here. Ace Frehley. Did Ace just pass away? You know Gene Simmons just did. Was it Gene Simmons? No, it was Ozzy Osbourne that just passed away, not Gene Simmons. Yeah, Ace Frehley. Died on the 16th of October. Okay, so it's a little bit older. Obviously, had to get his paint guy to give him a little bit to try to get this one painted up. But you do see the Fly High Space Ace there on the back bumper of this car as well. And looks good, looking fresh, man. Looking beautiful, beautiful paint scheme there by NJBDesigns.com as they're able to pump in another beautiful paint scheme. That Kiss Ride, the Ace Freely machine. Looking fresh out there on the speedway here in this one. And Ace flying on board with that 27 right. We'll have to wait and see if Brookover can use that to his advantage, give himself a little extra momentum, and build him up here for making a good run and a good drive here today. And trying to race his way up to the front of the field. As Josh Crider has the race lead. The 81 ride, though, newcomer to the series in that Metallica ride. The 81 of Sean Merriman. Merriman right there to his inside. Merriman looking for the race lead here at Homestead-Miami Speedway in his first ever Premium Stock Car Racing League event. One other driver that we saw have a really big outcome and a great finish in his first ever Premium Stock Car Racing League event was that 31 rider Brandon Holder. We know Holder, he's looking to try to cash in here with a good points day, knowing that he's going to want to try to earn some extra points, try to get some of these stage points, because he's there on the cut line of the playoffs. And for the 31 machine, with this being an elimination race, we have to try to step up his game here later in this run. Our first stage of the day will be completed on lap number 40 here this evening. So our first stage coming to an end on lap number 40. Stage number 2 will end at lap number 80. So for these drivers, you know that there's a couple stages, you know there's a couple opportunities to put some points into your back pocket, whether that's to help you in the point standings, get farther away from that cut line, or potentially to try to, you know, keep yourself as close as possible to that cut line. Try to get a good finish and still navigate your way into the next round of these playoffs here this evening. As for Josh Crider, he's feeling pretty good. He's at the front of the field. He's battling here with the 81, the 10, and now the 79 rider Danny White, our points leader coming into this race. Danny rolls right there in position number 4, looking to jump up into third as he looks to the inside of Andrew Floyd. Looks like he may make that pass. The 5 ride's going to split down low underneath of Sean Merriman. So now we see Crider on the bottom, Merriman up on the high side. Can Sean keep that momentum up? Can he use his 81 ride to give himself the race lead here once again and keep that 5 of Crider back there at bay? As you see the outside lane in 1 and 2 seems to really be paying some huge dividends, finding a lot of speed down there through 1 and 2, and we'll have to wait and see what else he can accomplish here in this one, as we do see Brandon Dayhoff, our pole sitter, back there in 5th, kind of just hanging out there. Ben Gleason, who we saw deeper in the field in this race, the 66 ride, just been kind of hanging out back there, not really doing too much, not doing anything crazy, not putting himself into a wild position out there on the speedway that could really affect his chances here in this feature. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out for him, because we're going to get ready to see drivers potentially have to come down pit road. We got one cat, Andrew Floyd, who has not made a pit stop here this evening. Everyone came down pit road during that first caution flag on lap number 16 for the 10 ride. You know, it's been 11 laps now since these drivers were down pit road. He's starting to fall backwards, even though drivers didn't get tires. They did get fuel. But for the 10 machine, unfortunately, he was hard on the throttle at the beginning of this stage. He'll race his way inside the top 5, and then there after the restart, trying to keep himself out in front. May have heated up, put a weird cycle onto his tires, where this 10 ride may be starting to struggle a little bit. And obviously, with that fuel kind of in the back of his mind, just kind of sitting there, it may be, you know, affecting his performance. We'll have to wait and see what the Pizza Planet ride can do here throughout this race. The driver that went around, that got turned around and brought out that caution flag, is this number 6 of Brian Underwood. Underwood looking for some stage points. He knows he's not safe, but wants to be, you know, as safe as possible going into the next round to keep his playoff dreams alive here in the chase for 3 championships in a row with the Premium Stock Car Racing League here this year for that 6 machine, as he rolls right now in that 7th position. To his inside, it is the beautiful Red Rum ride, the G-Man himself, Jonathan Gaston, who rolls there in position number 8 as the Gaston's iRacing Graphics ride. They're in that 8th position, working to the inside here of Brian Underwood, as they got Nathan Brookover in the 99 ride, a Sean Wilder right there, running out our top 10. Brad Neer, another newcomer here to the series. Brad Neer right there with them, and they're going to make contact. Look out, that puts Brooke over, up and into the outside fence right there. Pretty good contact for that number 27 ride. Luckily enough, able to keep it pointed the right direction. Keeps on rolling and looking to try and keep himself battling here in this one, as he is not going to back it down here. He's going to keep it rolling. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green. But, man, that was a tough break right there for Nathan Brookover. Let's see if we can play that one back and take a look at it. As, man, that was a close call here for Brookover, man. That was so close to going around and being our second caution flag of the day. Is the 7 ride right on his back bumper here as they head down into corner number 3 and 4. And the 27 just roll the outside lane. Actually gets a little bit tight right there. Gets up into the outside wall just before the contact between him and the 7 ride. 7 kind of gets up there, gets into him as he loses that momentum, and it just shoves the front end of the 27 ride back up into the outside fence. Unfortunately, losing a ton of ground there for Brookover, as we do see Andrew Floyd. We talked about Floyd and how he did not pit there on lap number 16. And unfortunately for this 10 machine, he is now down pit road. He's going to throw tires onto this 10 car. Unfortunately, he will fall a lap down out there on the racetrack. So for the 10 ride, he's now back in position number 20. Now, good news here for that 10 ride is that he is the first and only driver a lap down out there on the speedway. So, with that being said, when the stage comes to an end here, or we see another caution flag, he may potentially get that lucky dog and get himself back on a lead lap. As now, look out, we see a bunch of drivers with issues. No caution flag as of yet. There it is, yellow flag on the racetrack. Oh man, a few tore up race cars here. We see Ben Gleason, heavy damage there for Ben Gleason, heavy damage for Sean Wilder as he's taking his car right down pit side. Also saw some pretty good damage here on that 79 ride. Our points leader coming into this race, Danny White, tore up in this as well. Man, there's a few cars that are just absolutely demolished out there on the racetrack. Let's take a look back and see what happened and see how this kind of got started, because these drivers were fairly close together, and I do believe it's going to happen right here between Danny White and the number 66 right of Gleason right here. I'm not sure if White kind of comes down. 66 kind of comes up. It looks like kind of the 66 is holding his lane right here. I don't really see too much movement out of Gleason. And I think for the 79 ride, gets up into him. Unfortunately, gets a little squirrely. Oh, Underwood's collected in it as well right there. We see Brian Underwood get a piece of that. But, man, that was a big hit right there for Danny White. Heavy damage for him. Heavy damage for that 66 ride as well. And Sean Wilder. Wilder's going to come from quite a ways back here. And unfortunately, he's going to get tied up in it. Let's take a look. So Wilder sees the smoke right there. And all of a sudden, dang near full throttle. You see Farrell Robbins gets a piece of it as well. Heavy damage there for the 99 as the engine actually blows up out of it. Man, let's see if we can jump on board with this 99 machine. Let's jump onto the cockpit view here, see what he can see right here as they head down the front straightaway, back into corner 1 and 2, and out of corner number 2 down the back straightaway. This is where things get a little bit wild. So sees a little smoke right there, but obviously not enough. And yeah, he's all over the chip right there, just driving this thing as hard as possible. Ah. Man, big hits right there, man. A lot of tore up race cars. Heavy hits for Sean Wilder. Heavy hits there for the... Oh, yeah, you can see he's got this thing pumped out at a lot of RPM, trying to get it rolling here. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to go, and that's where the motor decides to expire there on him. Brookover does come down pit side. He's looking to get damage repaired. We saw, honestly, pretty much everyone else, not quite everyone else, come down pit road. So this is a bit of an interesting turn of events here. It's about halfway through their pit cycle. If they can only make it 31 laps or so, like we saw out of that 10 ride of Andrew Floyd, who will get the lucky duck, you'll get the wave around back on the lead lap. So great break here for that 10 ride. He now has some really fresh tires and some, not really bad track position now, being back on the lead lap. So for the 10 ride, he's going to sit pretty out there on the speedway. But we did see Sean Merriman come down pit road, Underwood, Kevin Calkins. Obviously, Farrell Robbins needing that damage repaired. He's down pit road. Same with Danny White in the 79 ride. Gleason getting some damage repaired. We saw Floyd obviously getting the wave around. Dustin Sleitler's getting ready to slide back out there. Here comes Nathan Brookover, Brad Neer, all trying to catch up to the tail end of our field. And the 99 rider, Sean Wilder. Wilder, unfortunately, was down pit road there for a couple laps as his car was getting repaired and getting put back out there onto the speedway. And for the Team DS High Velocity Racing ride, he'll stroll back out onto the racetrack. Early scored back in 20th, and he is now the first car a lap down out there on the speedway. So another quick caution flag could try to get him back into the battle, but here in this one we'll have to wait and see. As here we go back to green flag racing here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let us know who you're cheering for, who you want to see up here in victory lane. As out in front, the 71 of Brandon Dayoff. Dayoff has the race lead, everyone else in tow, everyone else trying to hunt him down here. As man, some great action, some great racing. These guys putting on an absolute show for us here this evening. As Gaston up and into second, trying to earn some big stage points here this evening. He's got Crider, though, rolling to his outside, and look out because here comes that 31, Brandon Holder. Holder biding his time, waiting patiently, now racing his way up and into position number 4 for Brandon Holder. He's looking for some big stage points here in this race. Wyatt Youngblood right there in 5th. Jordan Crider, he's looking for some big stage points in that 33 ride. Same with Michael Ware back there in 8th. Underwood and Danny White inside the top 10. They'll both hope to find some stage points themselves here back there in that 9th and 10th position. As all these drivers, man, putting together a great show. We only got a couple laps left to go here in stage number 1. So stage number 1 about to come to a close. Brandon Dayoff out in front. Dayoff with the race lead. Just sitting pretty out there on the speedway, man. Does not want to give an inch out there on the racetrack. And for a lot of these drivers up there inside the top 10, they're all looking for these stage points. Obviously, Jordan Crider, Michael Ware, they're looking for some big ones here as they're deep in this pack. They're deep in the field, and if they can earn some major stage points, could definitely help them out. As Ware does fall back now into about position number 11. This is a tough spot to be if you're that 75. There's contact between him and the 18 ride. They're tied together. Down the racetrack they go. Caution flag will be displayed as Wyatt Youngblood and Michael Ware get tied together. Unfortunately, that will bring a yellow flag out, and that will end our stage here on lap number 40 as Brandon Dayoff will earn the stage win here this evening. So Brandon Dayoff with that stage win. Jonathan Gaston will come home in second. And we see Sean Merriman there in 3rd. Brian Underwood back in 4th. Brandon Holder, who desperately needed the points, comes home in that 5th position. Josh Crider back in 6th with Jordan Crider, Danny White, Farrell Robbins, and Dustin Sleitler rounding out our top 10 here in our first stage of the day. The big points there, obviously Danny White came in with the points lead. He's hoping that, just getting a few extra here and there will be enough to keep him comfortably above that cut line. For Jordan Crider, Jordan back in the 11th position. He was tied in 11th. I believe they were about 7 points or so back, potentially 5-7 points back of the cut line, and potentially on the outside looking in. So for Jordan Crider, earning some big stage points right there. And with Chris Getz not in this race, it's a heartbreaker there for Chris Getz. As Getz not out there on the racetrack, I do believe he will fall below the cut line here, and that will move Chris Getz from a potential berth into the next round of the playoffs and now outside of the playoffs. The next driver kind of in line here is Brookover, Josh Crider. So good news is that we did see Josh Crider earn some good stage points right there. We didn't see any stage points from Melvin Brengerer. Didn't get any. We didn't see Ben Gleason in there either getting any stage points. So for a bunch of these drivers, there was definitely some opportunities to shake things up here when it comes to our point standings, as drivers will head down pit road. They'll get their fuel. They'll get their tires and everything else that they desire as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing. So let's take another look back here at this yellow flag, at the contact, as obviously we talked about how he was back there. He's last place in the point standings for that 75 ride. He just needs to get everything he can, and unfortunately pushing his car to the limits, just pushing it a little bit too far, ends up getting into this 18 right of Wyatt Youngblood. Youngblood just kind of nowhere to go, and I think what starts this off is right there on corner entry. You watch him get into the back end right there of the 76 of Farrell Robbins. That kind of gets him bent out of shape, pushes him on the racetrack, then gets into the 18. They get hooked together. Both drivers stay tied together, keep bouncing off of each other, and that's what puts us under the yellow flag here for the second time this evening, I do believe. Second time now in this race. Second or third time in this race, actually. That's our third caution flag now of the evening. So 3 yellow flags. 3 different incidences, and that's going to ship things up here for the second stage of this race. As Sean Merriman will have the race lead, the 79 of Danny White, who got tied up in that second caution flag, will be there in second. Farrell Robbins back in third with Brian Underwood in position number 4. Dustin Sleitler there in fifth with Kevin Cookins back in 6th. Brandon Dayhoff, who was our race leader, he's back in position number 7 with Jonathan Gaston to his outside. Andrew Floyd and Brandon Hull, they're going to round out our top 10 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. It's Josh Crider, Jordan Crider, door-to-door back there in row number 6. Then we see the 7 of Brad Neer, Ben Gleason, Melvin Brenger, Wyatt Youngblood, William Elmore back there in the 17th position. We haven't really seen much of this mission 22, number 47 ride of Elmore, but maybe later in this run, later in the race, we'll see this 47 ride make a run towards the front. Broke over trying to rebound here as he's back in 18th. Michael Ware there in 19th. Sean Wilder does get a lap back, so now he's only 1 lap down out there on the speedway, back in the 20th position. So another caution flag, another opportunity for him to try to get back into the action here and back on to the lead lap today. As out in front is Sean Merriman, who has the race lead. Great launch, great drive here for Sean Merriman as he's hoping to try to keep himself out in front, trying to keep all these other drivers back there at bay and at least far away from his back bumper here this evening. As we will see stage number 2 come to a close, another 40 lap run. So at lap number 80, the completion of lap 80, that will be the end of stage number 2 here this evening in our first elimination race of the season. And Sean Merriman, Danny White, 1 and 2 out there on the speedway. We take a look back at Farrell Robbins and the 6th ride of Brian Underwood. Door-to-door here for position number 3. Underwood trying to take it away here. The 76 trying to hang on to it, but unfortunately down the back straightaway. Such a big run. So much momentum being built up in that outside lane and kind of running it just the same way as we tend to see from Kyle Larson. The 6th ride of Underwood will easily take over 3rd, and for Farrell Robbins, he'll now have to try to hold off this Vanderhorn number 1 ride of Dustin Sleitler. Sleitler right there as the Van Dorn ride rolls into position number 4 now. As Farrell Robbins back into 5th, he now has the 11 machine here. Here comes Kevin Calkins. Calkins right there, ready to move, ready to make some big moves here. Trying to put this 11 right up inside the top 5. Brandon Holder right there behind him. The G-Man Gaston back there in position number 8. Josh Crider back in 9th here, trying to join that battle for the 8th position. As we see Brad Neer, newcomer to the series, another newcomer to the series here for Neer in that Cheerios Pop Secret ride into position number 10 on the speedway. Great run so far for the 7 machine, as you do see Brandon Dayhoff unfortunately fall back. Now into 11th, he's got Gleason, Jordan Crider, Andrew Floyd, who we saw unfortunately go a lap down, having to make that pit stop there during green flag conditions. Luckily enough, he got that wave around rather quickly. Just a half a lap after he came down pit road is when we saw that yellow flag fly. So for the 10 ride, he's sitting in a pretty good spot right now, fuel-wise and tire strategy-wise, so it kind of worked out into his favor there after making a bold strategy, trying to stay out a lot longer than a lot of these other drivers. It's Jordan Crider, Wyatt Youngblood right there in 14th and 15th. We see Melvin Brenger back in 16th. Michael Ware Nathan Brookover, William Elmore, our top 19. Sean Wilder, unfortunately, still a lap down, scored back in 20th. Is out in front. It is Sean Merriman who continues to lead the way, continues to show these drivers that he is going to be a tough driver to beat here this evening. It looks like the Metallica ride is absolutely hooked up here. He's got Dr. Pepper on board with him. He's got it into that cup, and luckily enough, he's looking to not shake things up too much, too crazy here at the front of the field, but as the playoff drivers start to work around him here, it's going to be a tough call on how you want to battle with them. Obviously, you want to battle and try to put yourself still in the victory lane, but for those playoff drivers, man, you don't really want to get in the way or make a mistake and end their evening, especially here in your first race with the series. So for this 81 ride into a very, very difficult position for the 7 ride of Brad Neer. He's right there as well. Very difficult spot out there on the racetrack, as in one slip up, one mistake, and potentially you can end the night, end the playoff dreams and championship hopes of, one or multiple of our playoff drivers here this evening as they're on the brink of elimination. They get caught up in that one incident. Could definitely be a bad day for them. So we'll have to wait and see how this continues. To get played out here this evening, as there's contact right there. That's what we were talking about. That's a playoff driver. 7 ride just kind of gets up the track. Let's see if we can play this back. Let's back it up, throw it in reverse here, Terry, and let's take a look as Brad Neer trying to keep this car just kind of rolling, trying to keep himself in this race, but obviously not wanting to make contact here, playoff drivers. And right here, he comes back up the racetrack. The 72 rider Gaston's there. Gaston really just has nowhere to go, and that puts the 72 up into the outside fence. Pretty sizable contact there for him, and Kevin Calkins also getting tied up in that one as he bounces it up off the outside fence as well. So for a couple of these drivers, ended up getting some pretty tore up race cars out there during the green flag action. Definitely not a super fun spot to be out there on the speedway, but for right now, Danny's feeling pretty good here. Danny got some good stage points there in stage number 1 for the 97 ride. He's able to keep on battling. Obviously gotten tied up in that second caution flag of the day. The 79 ride already having to use up that quick repair, so he's going to be on the edge of his seat here throughout the rest of this race. But for right now, the 79 sitting at the front of the field, leading some laps, feeling confident, looking to potentially try to put his Old Dog Racing teammates back up into victory lane here this evening with another sizable run, another great performance in trying to pick up the win here in our first elimination race of these playoffs. As Danny White, though, and Sean Merriman work right down to the inside of our back-to-back champion here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, Brian Underwood, as Underwood rolls there in position number 2. Underwood try to keep the peace here maybe a little bit, gonna slide down in front of the 81 and the 79, and that should break up our front runner here, Danny White, in that 81, as it seemed like the 81 of Sean Merriman was looking to try to get back to his back bumper, looking to try to get back into that battle for the race lead. But now with Danny White in between them, things have gotten a little bit calmer here between the top 3, but that is only for right now because things are going to heat up as Josh Crider poking his nose right into this battle. Now Crider, he is the first driver, actually second driver, that pitted there on lap number 41. We see only a few drivers that did not come back down pit road there on lap 41. So we did see Danny White stay out, took the track position. So did Sean Merriman, as he's able to stick around here in that 4th position, battling here with the 5 rider Josh Crider. So they kind of stay in it here. We did see Farrell Robbins also. No, he came down pit road. Who is this? This is the... I move around so much. Okay, it is Farrell Robbins. Yeah, Farrell Robbins also did not come down pit road there during that last caution flag. So for a few of these drivers having 7 lap older tires, having 7 lap older fuel mileage, anything like that could be a difference maker here in this feature event, and could be the make or break between advancing into the next round of the playoffs or unfortunately loading up your ride and just becoming another driver and not one of our playoff competitors or championship hopefuls here this season. So we'll have to wait and see kind of how that plays out, because there's a lot of opportunities for drivers to still make up a lot of ground out there on the racetrack, because we do see Sean Merriman coming down pit side here. So lap 56, he comes down pit road. He was one of those drivers that had last pitted back on lap number 34. And this could be the first wave of these pit stops, trying to split the stage kind of almost in half. So for the 81, he's going to make the early call. Now we saw how that worked out for the number... I'm trying to think now, who was the driver that came down pit road off sequence? The 10 ride of Andrew Floyd. We saw how that worked out for Floyd, obviously going a lap down. And after going a lap down, still even being down pit side, the caution flag came out, got him the wave around, got him back on a lead lap and back into the action here for this number 81 ride. He may not be as lucky, but we'll have to wait and see, because here comes our race leaders. Now going to roll around him here. He is really close to them, so a great pit stop. Great cycle there for that 81 ride, and may still be within striking distance with the newer tires to maybe jump up, battle with these guys, and maybe work his way back on a lead lap here in this one, as we do see Underwood, Josh Crider 1 and 2 on the Speedway. Brandon Holder there in third with Danny White in position number 4. Brad Neer there in 5th. Great run brewing here for Neer as he's there in that 5th position. We may see more and more drivers wanting to start to head down pit road here. It's going to be very interesting to see when drivers elect to kind of come down pit side. I feel we're going to see a lot over the next handful of laps, because this is virtually going to split this second stage right in the middle here, right now, as they head down and across the start-finish line. That'll be 20 laps into this stage, 20 laps left to go in this stage as they click off lap number 60 here this evening. So still 107 laps left to go in this race. Still a lot of opportunities to move forward, to fall back, to run into issues, to get tied up in other people's problems. Still lots of time for that, because you do see the Vocaloid number 11 ride of Kevin Calkins. Calkins does make his way down pit road here, so the 11 ride will make that pit stop right on lap number 60, virtually splitting this second stage right in half. And for the time being, he will lose a lap here, as our race leaders will steam down the front straightaway and around him here. And now for these drivers that are making the early pit stops, you know, you got to hope that you just don't catch a caution flag here. While you're a lap down, you just cannot have that yellow flag fly. You cannot end up into a position where you get trapped back there a lap down. And I think for the 81 ride, Merriman's right there in 18th. He's the first car a lap down out there on the racetrack. He is trying to keep himself in a position where everyone else has got to either make a pit stop here, getting himself back on a lead lap, maybe using these fresh tires to his advantage here to give himself a lead and edge here going into this next wave of pit stops, or after this wave of pit stops for the 81 machine. So we'll have to wait and see, because if there is a caution flag, he's in line for the lucky dog. The free pass as of right now, it takes it away from Sean Wilder. Unfortunately, Wilder would have to battle for another wave around here later in the race. For Kevin Calkins, obviously already being down pit road there on lap number 60. Calkins is the third car lap down, and for this 11 ride, may be able to get the wave around if he stays in on the racetrack, doesn't come down pit side or anything else. Could potentially work his way back on the lead lap, but he would just be in a very, very tough position, being on older tires and at the back of the pack, no track position to his advantage. So that one could really, really hurt him, and we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, because out in front, it's Brian Underwood. Underwood continues to lead the way. We'll have to wait and see if more drivers start to elect to come down pit road, as let's see. Here we go, Danny White. So some of the old dog racing rides head down pit road. Danny White, Farrell Robbins, they both come down pit road here. Two cats making their way downtown and down to their pit stall here in this feature event. See Brandon Holder here battling with the lap traffic here, the number 81 of Sean Merriman. And unfortunately here we will see Danny White and Farrell Robbins probably lose a lap. And tough break here for Farrell Robbins, and what would be an even worse break for Farrell is that he got a black flag here on this pit stop. Too fast down pit road for the Dude Wipes number 76 ride. Now, luckily, break is for Farrell Robbins after winning last Saturday night at Talladega Super Speedway. The 76 ride, he's punched his ticket. He is into the next round. He doesn't have to worry about points or anything else. He has worked his way into the second round of our playoffs. So even with that black flag, as much as that will affect his race here tonight and probably take him for the most part out of operation, out of contention for this win, he's still got a good steed. He's still into the show. He's into the next round, and we'll get the battle here for the second area of our playoffs here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Now here we go. We see Brandon Holder come down pit road. So a lot of these drivers making single car pit stops. This is quite interesting here. Here we see a few more come down at the same time, trying to follow each other down pit road. And we've seen quite a few drivers just take off down pit road, and no one really comes with them. It kind of seems to be about one a lap. As now here we go. We see Ben Gleason next lap around. Gleason comes down pit sign here on lap number 67. So he makes his pit stop, and for Josh Crider, Brian Underwood, they continue to battle here for the race lead as you do see the 81 ride trying to unlap himself, and that is the power of the fresh tires compared to the older tires right here. And for that number 81 ride, Mr. Sean Merriman, he's looking pretty strong out there on the racetrack, man. This car does look pretty hooked up here. This metallic ride jumps back out in front, picks up the race lead, takes it away. As now here we go. We see a few more coming back down pit road. Brian Underwood, Michael Ware, William Elmore, all now coming down pit side as well. Some more green flag pit stops here. Is this stage about to come to a close? We're about to see our stage break here in just a little bit. And for a bunch of these drivers, the big question is going to be, can you make it on fuel? Do you have enough in the tank? Can you go a little bit farther? Doesn't look like our race leader Josh Crider can. I thought maybe we'd see a few guys maybe being able to stretch out that fuel, but it looked like it was just a little too far and too much for these guys to try to hold back. I think if they may have gotten a few caution flags in there, maybe a couple yellows, it would have gotten things a little closer and a little bit easier here of a decision to maybe stay out and save that fuel enough to get to the end of this stage before making a second trip down pit side. We do see Branger also now down pit road here is out in front. Brad Neer continues to lead the way here. Neer out in front with Jonathan Gaston back in second. Dustin Sleitler rolls in position number 3 with Jordan Crider back there in 4th. Brooke over there in 5th. Andrew Floyd back in 6th with Wyatt Youngblood, Josh Crider, Brian Underwood, and Sean Merriman rounding out our top 10 out there on the speedway. And it does look like for Brian Underwood and Josh Crider, both drivers right down pit side, and they were able to keep Sean Merriman back there behind them. So Merriman does stay back virtually in what would be position number 3 out there on the racetrack. And for the 6 and the 5 ride, got a few extra laps in here as we saw Sean Merriman down pit road on lap 57. They were able to stay out for a while longer here, and it works out to their advantage. Staying up that a little bit longer gives them an opportunity to keep on picking up spots and continue racing towards the front of the field here, looking for that second stage win of the day as Wyatt Youngblood heads down pit road. We do see the 7 of Brad Neer also down pit side as Jonathan Gaston continues that race lead. So Gaston now out in front. You'll see his teammate right here, Danny White. Danny's looking to get around him here, trying to put himself, I believe, back onto the lead lap as the 72 jumps out in front. Now we do see Nathan Brooke over Andrew Floyd. They head down pit road here. And I do believe we only got a couple other drivers left to make their way down pit side here in this stage. That is Jonathan Gaston, Jordan Crider, and Dustin Sleitler all staying out right here. Not a lot of them coming down pit road as of right now, but now here we go. Now we do see Gaston heading down pit side. So Jonathan Gaston will give up the race lead. That will move Jordan Crider now to the point. So Jordan Crider now out in front, has the race lead. Looking to try to keep these guys back there behind him for at least a lap or two here. Trying to earn those extra bonus points here on the day for leading the lap and being out in front. And now it looks like he'll make the hard left-hand turn here down to the infield. It does look like he's getting ready to come down pit road, so it doesn't look like he can make it much farther, which is about a 33-lap run right there, something like that. They were down pit road on lap number 41. They made it to lap number 74, so about 33 laps. That seems to be kind of somewhere right around the average here, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to make this final stage really, really fun here. Final stage, we see everyone come back down pit road here on lap number 80 as the stage comes to an end. If they all come back down pit side, still going to be another 80-lap run to the finish here. That could make things very, very interesting. Almost actually a little bit more. Oh, yeah, this can make things very, very fun. It's going to be almost, 80, almost 90 laps here for that final stage of the day. So that's going to make things very interesting with the potential of a couple green flag pit stops. We saw a couple yellow flags early on in our first stage and one here early on in this second stage. But other than that, everything has been very, very well done here. Everyone's doing a fantastic job for Josh Crider, trying to earn those extra points here for our point standings, trying to bring himself away from the cut line here in that 5 right. He's got the point. He's out in front. He's looking to try to keep it that way as the number 66 of Ben Gleason in the 81 right of Sean Merriman there in position number 2 and 3. They're duking it out here for that spot. You see Brian Underwood right there with them, and then about a 2-second gap all the way back here to Brandon Dayhoff. Dayhoff back there in that 5th spot has Danny White looking down to his inside. Brandon Holder back there in position number 7. Gaston there in 8th. Looking down to his inside. Brad Neer and Michael Ware rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway. So our top 10 in line to earn some more stage points here in about 4 more laps. Unfortunately for some of our other playoff drivers like Nathan Brookover, Jordan Crider, Melvin Brenger are there on the outside of the top 10 looking in and may potentially not earn any stage points here in this race, and those stage points could be the make or break difference between advancing into the next round of the playoffs, or unfortunately being eliminated from the playoffs and having to become more of a bystander here to that chase for the championship here in 2025. Is Josh Crider looking to keep his playoff dreams alive here out in front, looking for some big stage points. Still has about a second lead between himself and Sean Merriman as Merriman rolls back there in position number 2 now. Ben Gleason there in 3rd with Brian Underwood back in position number 4. Brandon Dayhoff there in 5th with Danny White, Jonathan Gaston, Brad Neer, Brandon Holder, and Michael Ware. Our top 10 out there on the racetrack is Crider, nice and easy, down through corner 1 and out of corner number 2 here. Only about a lap and a half left to go here in this stage. So for the Lonnie Crider Rubber Duck Productions number 5 ride of Josh Crider, feeling pretty dang snazzy, feeling pretty dang good out there on the Speedway. He's got that beautiful Season 2 championship with SpongeBob on board with him here again this evening. And for the 5 ride, he'll get the 1 to go here in this stage. So 1 more lap left here for Josh Crider. Is Crider looking for the stage win here in stage number 2, where we will see a competition caution flag come out at the end of the stage. We will see an actual stage break, which will give these drivers an opportunity to kind of sit back, relax, make a pit stop, try to get their game plan figured out, and try to battle your way back into potentially a good finish, a solid finish, a win here to try to lock yourself in to our next round of the Premium Stock Car Racing League Championship Playoffs. As the 5 rider Josh Crider picks up the stage win, Crider able to get the dub here in stage number 2 this evening. Sean Merriman there in 2nd, Ben Gleason, Danny White, Brandon Dayhoff, our top 5. Jonathan Gaston back there in 6th with Brian Underwood there in 7th. And then we do see Brad Neer there in position number 8, Brandon Holder back in 9th, and Michael Ware rounding out our top 10. So for Michael Ware, that's potentially a big, big stage point right there for the 75 ride. He's going to need everything he's got here to try to navigate his way into the next round of these playoffs for that 75 ride. If he continues on rolling back here deeper in the field and not being out in front leading laps like we saw early on, unfortunately, or Michael Ware could be eliminated here this evening. So we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing as the pace car joins them here, going down the back straightaway. Now each driver will get an opportunity to try to come down pit road, try to get some fuel, tires, whatever else they desire, and get themselves set up here for the rest of this feature event, as that is our final stage break, our final stage of the day, and that will open up the door here a lot of these drivers to try to make some changes, make some swings, try to figure out what they need to do, what they need to game plan to try and put themselves back into the action here this evening. It's Josh Crider, though, ready to come down pit road. Here he comes, makes that hard left-hand turn, down pit sign for that number 5 ride, and it looks like everybody is going to follow him. So even some of those drivers that made the late pit stops there, coming down pit road in lap 71, lap 72, and everything else, they're all going to come down pit road. I do believe Sean Wilder going to get the lucky dunk here as well. So great break here for Sean Wilder. Seeing all that play through, seeing that cycle through, puts him back to the first car 1 lap down. And for Sean Wilder, gets him right back into the action, right back into the battle here this evening. Unfortunately for Farrell Robbins, we saw got some more damage there on the 76 front. Unfortunately, he got the penalty down pit road as well. And that whole down pit side did put him still a lap down. So he is the first car 1 lap down now out on the speedway. We'll have to wait and see if he can try to get that lap back and if he can try to get himself back into the action here today. So we'll have to keep an eye here on that 76 ride of Farrell Robbins. Luckily enough for him, already won last Saturday night's feature event. He's punched his ticket into the next round of the playoffs as we'll get them all ready to rock and roll. We'll get ready to go to battle here in just a quick second, as we're going to be right back here in just a quick minute. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for all these drivers and don't go anywhere, as we're going to get ready to go back to Green Flag Racing here in just a moment.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost...
Alrighty, here we go, getting ready to go back to Green Flag Racing as our final stage is upon us. Here in our first elimination race of the season for the Premium Stock Car Racing League, it is Wyatt Youngblood who will see that green flag fly here once again. He's able to get a great launch, keep that 5 ride of Josh Crider back there at bay, as Crider going to continue to try to hunt him down here, looking for a big run on the outside lane is Sean Merriman and the 71 of Brandon Dayhoff right there behind him, trying to work their way back to the point for both the 81 and the 71 right here this evening. Danny White right there ready to pounce, as well as the 31 of Brandon Holder, who's back there in the 6th position. Michael Ware and all these other drivers continue to duke it out 3 wide racing here at Homestead-Miami Speedway. Great run there on the outside lane for the 72 of Gaston. He battles his way back up into the 7th position. You see Michael Ware right there as well, knowing that he needs some major points to try to work his way into the next round of the playoffs. See Brad Neer right there, the beautiful Pizza Planet number 10 right of Andrew Floyd back there in that 10th position. Melvin Brenger in 11th with Sean Wilder, Ben Gleason, all these guys right here in the mix. See the 11 right of Kevin Calkins, he's right there as well. These are 3 of our playoff drivers right here door to door out there on the racetrack. Calkins, Gleason, and the 6 of Underwood all battling hard here. Broke over right behind them, another playoff driver, and that number 76 of Farrell Robbins, also another playoff cat. So a bunch of our playoff competitors back here deeper in the field right now outside of the top 10. It starts with Brenger, who's back here in position number 11. one of our playoff drivers back here just outside the top 10. Then you look at Gleason, Underwood, Kevin Calkins. You look back at the number 33 of Jordan Crider, the 27 of Brookover, Farrell Robbins. A great break right here as the caution flag does get displayed. I do believe it may have been for the 27 ride. Yeah, there you go. We are going to see that. Looks like potentially a single car issue as the 27 of Nathan Brookover in that kiss ride sees the 11 get up into the outside fence. 47 right and shoves it in there deep. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if there's a little net code right there. They never made contact, but it almost seemed like net code here as that's 47 ride gets in here, and I do believe right here, it looks like he's coming up. Looks like he might hit him, and the net code just takes him out right here. So they don't actually make any contact. iRacing net code, though, does think there is contact, and unfortunately kind of kicks that rear end out of the kiss ride, and he's going to go for a quick little loop-de-loop here on the front straightaway, and luckily enough, our flagman right there getting a quick look at it, throws that caution flag as he gets rolling back out there on the racetrack, and we'll keep everything kind of rolling here as the yellow flag does get displayed. That'll give Farrell Robbins a wave around, a lucky dog here, and I do believe that should get Farrell back onto the lead lap right now. So that's a great break for the Dude Wipes Extra Large, number 76, as he's going to take that car around our pace car, put himself back on a lead lap, and that will make things very interesting here. As now we see another opportunity for drivers to come down pit road, and it looks like Wyatt Youngblood going to give up the race lead. Does come down pit side. So the young man going to make some very interesting pit strategy calls here. We do see Ben Gleason, Brian Underwood also down pit road, Kevin Calkins, Dustin Sleitler, Jordan Crider, Nathan Brookover. All these cats coming down pit road here. We'll have to wait and see kind of what the game plan is here. If they're just getting fuel, getting topped up, even though it's only been a couple laps, that extra little bit of fuel could make or break the chances here of trying to find victory lane, so they're going to take advantage of it. A lot of these guys weren't giving up too much track position for Wyatt Youngblood here. Youngblood was at the front of the field, and now he did give up a lot of track position, but you do see the 18 ride right here. He's jacked up. The crew is going to work. They're putting tires onto this 18 ride. So for Wyatt Youngblood, even though he's given up a ton of track position, he's fallen deeper into the field. Throwing this new set of tires on will potentially help him out and drive him back up to the front of the pack as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing as Sean Merriman with the race lead. He'll get ready to rumble. He'll get ready to go back to green flag racing with Crider, Brandon Holder, Brandon Dayhuff, Danny White, Michael Ware, Brad Neer, Jonathan Gasson, Andrew Floyd, and Melvin Brenger, who are all getting ready to duke it out to continue to keep on battling here in this one. Let's take another quick look here at our point standings. As of right now, this is where all these drivers stand here. Our points, our playoff drivers inside the top 12 here on the board. You look at the bottom of this list, and you see the names of Michael Ware, Jordan Crider, Brandon Holder, Chris Getz, who's unfortunately not here. A lot of these drivers are on the outside of a transfer spot looking in, and you just got to gain that extra bit, have that extra good drive here, and give yourself the best opportunity to move forward and try to get yourself into the next round of the playoffs here this year. As it's all about surviving, it's all about racing for the next day. Even if you're not having the best run here in this one, just trying to salvage as many points as possible and putting yourself into a position to maybe leapfrog a couple of those drivers, make things a little bit more comfortable for yourself in trying to put yourself into the winner's circle. As we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to go back to green flag racing here in this one. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, make sure you guys do us a favor, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. As here we go back to green flag racing as the 81 of Sean Merriman will see that green flag gets on the loud pedal. The Metallica number 81 machine, his first race here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. He's out in front. He's looked very, very solid all evening long, and he's hoping to try to keep all these drivers back there at bay this evening. As Sean rolls down the back straightaway, still holding that gap as they start to spread out. 2, 3, 4 wide back here behind him. Everyone trying to find every single inch they can. Know that these restarts are wild. Know that these restarts are a huge opportunity to move forward. If you can find the runs, if you can find the lane and navigate your way up a little closer, these drivers are not scared to throw it in there, make it stick, and make something happen here out of nothing. So we'll have to wait and see if that continues. Andrew Floyd just kind of stuck right now in that middle groove here, obviously not moving too far forward too quickly, and being kind of in the middle 3 wide has not helped his case one little bit, as you do see Wyatt Youngblood, the first car, actually not the first car, Brian Underwood also down pit road there during that pit stop, and for the 6th ride, he's been working his way through this traffic rather quickly. He's the first car that came down pit road there on lap 89, and for Underwood, now sits in that 9th position. For Wyatt Youngblood, he's back in position number 12. Then we see Ben Gleason there in 14th. We do see Dustin Sleitler, Nathan Brookover, Farrell Robbins, all up inside the top 17 right now. William Elmore back there in 18 for the number 33 of Jordan Crider. Crider, unfortunately, back here in the 19th position. And for Kevin Calkins, looks like some major damage here on Calkins' ride. Looks like he's got that damaged clock, and unfortunately, he's going to have to make his way down pit side. Gonna have to get some changes, some work done, and trying to get this car fixed up and back out onto the racetrack here. As you see that right front, just kind of weeble wobble and heavy contact, heavy damage there for him, and unfortunately, that puts him into a very tough position as our race leaders down in through corner number 3 and 4. They're going to go down the front straightaway and put him a lap down, and that's going to put Kevin Calkins, one of our drivers, into a very tough position here throughout this race. Now, luckily enough for Kevin Calkins, he is just on the outside of the playoffs looking in here. Unfortunately, he was the odd man out of making the playoffs here in for the 11 ride. Does not have to worry, does not have to stress about a bad run. Obviously, no one wants to run bad. No one wants to be the car that finishes towards the back of the field. But luckily enough for him, doesn't have to worry about the points or anything else and trying to navigate his way into the next round of the playoffs, because he's not a part of the playoffs, as he has been down pit road. He's rolling back out onto the speedway right now. As of right now, I do believe he is already 2 laps down, at risk of potentially going 3 laps down here if our race leaders can catch up to him. Is Lonnie Crider. What's good, Lonnie? Lonnie says, "You're the best. A great job. Keep it up." I appreciate that, Lonnie. I appreciate that, brother, coming in showing the love here in this one, man. Hopefully you're having yourself a wonderful Saturday as Sean Merriman continue to look to try to keep Josh Crider back there at base. Down across the line, they'll click off lap 97 here this evening. So 97 laps completed. And you do see that 11 ride right there in front of him. Potentially going to lose another lap here this evening. As for Sean Merriman, Josh Crider, they sit 1 and 2. Brandon Dayhuff back there in position number 3. Brad Neer in 4th with Brian Underwood right there in position number 5. Michael Ware back there in that 6th position. But look at the gangle of cars here, man. This is an absolute dogfight. 3 wide, 4 wide. These drivers are not giving an inch. They are not lifting. They are giving it everything they got. And right here at the front of this group is Brandon Holder. Holder in that 6th position, rolling the outside lane, trying to keep himself right there at the front of this pack. Danny White, though, they're in 7th with Branger, Jonathan Gaston, Michael Ware, and then we see a bunch of our drivers that were back down pit road during that last caution flag. For Wyatt Youngblood, he gave up the race lead, and for Youngblood, has not worked his way through the traffic like we saw at a Brian Underwood, and now they're 2-3 wide. There's contact. Look out, the 75 of Michael Ware bounces it up into the outside fence. Oh, man, this is a heavy hit here for the 75 ride. And he's going to continue washing up the racetrack, and it looks like he's going to end up taking out the 27 of Nathan Brookover as well, and now we'll get stopped on the speedway. Looks like that is going to potentially end his night, as he will have to take that thing down pit road. He tows it down there, and unfortunately for Nathan Brookover, also down on the infield. This may be a heartbreaker here for Brookover, as he was one of our playoff drivers that was kind of right on the line here, kind of right in the question mark area, and being able to advance into the next round. Now, luckily enough for Brookover here, he came into this race sitting 8th in points. Chris Gens is not here, so Gens cannot move in front of him. Brandon Holder, who is tied there for 9th, can leapfrog Nathan Brookover, and more than likely now at this point will probably leapfrog Brookover here for the 8th position in the point standings at least. Jordan Crider back there. He was quite a few points back, but it does open up the door for Crider to get around him. Michael Ware obviously getting collected in that as well and potentially seeing his night come to an end. It does look like Ware has taken his car off of the racing surface and back down behind pit wall for Brookover. He's going to try and get this thing fixed up and try to get it back out there onto the racetrack. But for that 27 ride, there's at least, I'm going to say, 2 drivers behind him that cannot leapfrog him. With that being said, for Michael Ware and Chris Gens, they are potentially the 2 drivers that may be on the outside looking in here. I'm not sure how many get eliminated here after tonight's racing action. I don't know if it's 2 or if it's 3 or how many that we're going to end up getting rid of here. I do believe we do have 1, 2 more elimination races here. So with 2 more elimination races still in the future, I don't know if they're going to do 2 and 2 potentially. Maybe this one is 4 and then goes down to 2 and 2. Because normally we have, 4 or 5 drivers in that championship. So I'm not too sure on what the number is going to be. But for Brookover, that's going to put him into a very, very difficult position. Let's see if we can actually go back to this and take a look and see what happened as Michael Ware kind of stuck in the middle right here. Actually, he's up on the high side. It's Youngblood who's in the middle. And it looks like the 75 kind of coming down, the 66 kind of coming up. And it does look like the 75 ride maybe coming down the racetrack right here, trying to take a big run. Maybe thought he had more room, more drive here on corner exit. As here you go, right here. He's going to kind of come down. They get tied together. The 18 ride gets loose after the contact and bounces the 75 up into the outside fence. And then for Ware, obviously with that issue, no great steering here. Gets into corner number 1 right here into the banking, and for Brookover sees it, but unfortunately just cannot react in time as we'll watch this 75 ride. Send it in here, sends it in, and I don't even see the steering wheel turn right here. Steering wheel doesn't even turn, so I don't know if he's already got it. It doesn't look like he's got it turned all the way to the left, so I don't know if he ran into an issue here and just turned off his system or what may have happened, but he's turning here, makes that contact, kind of gets bounced around, then up into the outside fence, and it's almost like his steering wheel disconnected or something right there, because after that, this steering wheel never turns and unfortunately just washes right back up the racetrack. So even if he could have kept racing, obviously after that issue in the contact, if it was a steering box broke or something, or if his actual steering wheel in the rig broke there after the contact with the outside fence, but unfortunately kind of stays in the throttle until midway through that corner, and then finally that's where Brookover ends up into it here, and unfortunately for Nathan Brookover, just really not a lot that he could do right here. Obviously he's driving down here, making some big changes, tries to go to the outside, trying to carry that speed and momentum, and then all of a sudden, 75 ends up right there onto his lap, man. That's a heartbreaker for him. It's going to be tough to deal with there for Nathan Brookover here this evening. Is out in front, though, it's Sean Merriman. Merriman continues to have the race lead. He's out in front, continuing to show these drivers how to get it done here in this one. Brandon Dayhuff, though, right there with him. Dayhuff in position number 2 as Josh Crider slides back to 3rd. Brad Neer there in position number 4. Continues to look for more as Brian Underwood, Brandon Holder, Danny White, Jonathan Gaston, Ben Gleason, Sean Wilder, our top 10 out there on the Speedway. All these drivers trying to navigate their way up in towards victory lane here this evening as Melvin Brengruer, Andrew Floyd, Farrell Robbins, Dustin Slightler, Wyatt Youngblood, our top 15 with William Elmore and Jordan Crider, our top 17 out there on the Speedway. Kevin Calkins back in the 18th position here, a few laps down back there in position number 18. Brookover still down pit road, obviously still trying to get this car repaired and back out on the racetrack. Unfortunately, already about 9 laps down here on the Speedway. And for Michael Ware, down behind pit wall and out of this race. And I do believe, with that being said, we can officially say that for Michael Ware is out of these playoffs as well. Ware came into this race. Unfortunately, he was at the rear of the field. He was at risk of potentially being eliminated here this evening. And I do believe after that issue, he will be eliminated here today. As we see the caution flag come out here, looks like Dustin Sleitler going to run into some issues here. The number one ride going to run into some issues. Let's take a look at the Van Dorn machine and see what happens and what goes wrong here with the one ride as he's battling with the 18 ride here, Wyatt Youngblood. And even Youngblood get tied together. The one ride goes for a wild couple loop-de-loops here down the front straightaway. Luckily enough, avoids contact with that inside fence. Let's see if there's any premeditated issues here. Maybe some more contact between these two drivers. Doesn't look like it, but right here they will get a little bit squirrely, and then down the straightaway, it's like the 18. I don't know if he just thought that the one was going to have a bigger run right here and get to his outside. Not too sure what was going on right there, but nonetheless, 18 ride comes up the racetrack, not cleared, and gets right into that right rear quarter panel of that number one ride, and it just hooks the one of Sleitler around it. Unfortunately for Sleitler, he's going to go for a quick loop-de-loop. Now, lucky break is look how close he gets to that inside fence there, the pit lane wall, and that could have been game over right there for the one ride. Luckily enough, able to keep himself out of the fence and able to keep that car in one piece as everybody's going to head down pit side. Everyone's going to look to get some fuel and tires and everything else that they desire and get ready to rock and roll here. As I feel like everyone was getting very, very close to potentially having to come down pit side again anyways, and this is going to make things very interesting. Still at least one more pit stop here on the evening and potentially one more green flag pit stop that could really mix things up here in this feature event. As Sean Merriman will win the race off pit road. Brandon Dayhoff, Josh Crider, Brad Neer, Brandon Holder, Danny White back there in 6 with Underwood, Ben Gleason, Jonathan Gaston, and Sean Wilder are going to round out our top 10 as we'll get ready to go back to battle. We'll get ready to duke it out here in just a few more moments. Don't go anywhere as we'll get ready to go back to green flag racing here in just a couple another lap here. We'll be back to green flag racing and duking it out here again this evening.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we go, getting ready to go back to green flag racing is down through the Geico restart zone. Sean Merriman will get a great launch right there. Merriman out in front, a beautiful restart. It will lead us down into quarter number 1 as we're going to jump into our Peacemaker Gaming. Crank it up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on these drivers as they got about 50 laps left to go here in this feature event. Man, we still got lots of racing action left ahead of us, and for these drivers, still lots of opportunities to try and navigate their way up and into victory lane as we crank it up here on Peacemaker Gaming. a beautiful crank it up session, giving us the sights and sounds around the beautiful Homestead-Miami Speedway here this evening, as these drivers giving us a great look at what they're doing and how they're grooving out there on the racetrack, as each and every one of them duking it out here in this one, trying to find their way up and into victory lane, as each and every one of them chasing down the 81 of Sean Murrayman. Murrayman out in front, continuing to lead the way here in this one, as the 81 Metallica Dr. Pepper ride at the front of the field here, continuing to lead the race. Is Brandon Dayhoff right there with them, back in position number 2, our pole sitter here this evening, still sitting right there with them, not letting them run away with it, keeping them honest if they're on the racetrack. One slip up, one mistake out of that 81 ride could open up the door for Dayhoff to potentially try to take this race lead back away from them. As Brad Neer back there in position number 3, as we do see one driver starting this final pit cycle. It's Sean Wilder with only 30 laps left to go here in this race. 30 laps left to go here in this feature event. Wilder will come down pit road. He knows he's good on fuel now. He's going to be A-okay to make it to the end of this race, so he's going to come down pit side right now, use these few laps to potentially try to have better tires, better fuel, better everything, to try to leapfrog some of these drivers, try to get in front of that big pack that we saw him battling with, and trying to give himself a couple extra positions here late in this race. Now, for a lot of these other drivers, it's going to be really interesting. When do you decide to come down pit side? When do you come down pit road? When do you make that call? When do you put yourself into a position to make this final pit stop here? And it looks like our race leader, I'm not sure if he's slowing down. It does look like it. Here we go. So here comes Sean Murrayman. Is Murrayman going to come down pit road right here? You'll see Brandon Holder also making his way down pit side as well. So a few of our front runners making their way down pit road here, making their green flag pit stops here with only about 28 laps left to go here in this race. 28 laps left for these guys coming down pit road. So it's going to get very interesting. We do see the 18 ride also coming down pit side, a Wyatt Youngblood, so he makes his way down pit side as well. Now here comes Brandon Dayhoff. Dayhoff going to stay out a lap longer. Same with Jonathan Gaston as he also comes down pit side. Here comes Brad Neer, Josh Crider, Melvin Brenger, all coming down pit road as well. That was a hell of a battle that we watched there during the crank it up. They were door to door. They were beating and banging and battling out there on the speedway. Great gangle of cars, and unfortunately, one thing we didn't talk about here in the last couple minutes is the potential of black flags. Caught speeding down pit road penalties. You cannot have one this late in the race, and unfortunately, one of the drivers that just came down pit side had just earned themselves a black flag. The 72 of Jonathan Gaston. Gaston getting caught too fast down pit road. Will have a hold here. So all the drivers that he had just come down pit road with are now leaving pit side. They are leaving pit road. You see these Sean Wilder already around these guys. You see Brang Brewer. You see a lot of these guys that were down pit side with him. Now all of a sudden they're able to get rocking and rolling. He is still down pit road. This should probably put him at least, I'm going to say, a lap down out there on the speedway, which is going to be a heartbreaker here for that 72 ride, as we do see Jordan Crider finally making his way down pit road, as there's Danny White, Ben Gleason, Andrew Floyd. You do see Brian Underwood, Dustin Sleitler's down pit side, Farrell Robbins down pit road as well. So all these drivers making their pit stops. We finally get to see the 72 ride of Gaston getting released. He's finally able to roll back out there. Unfortunately for Gaston, he will be a lap down here. And for the 72, that is a tough place to be. As we do see Jordan Crider, he's down pit road. He's getting his pit stop done, and he's getting ready to roll back out onto the racetrack and continue on with his day. You also see the 6 rider, Brian Underwood. I don't know what's going on here with the 6 ride. This is an extended trip down pit road. What in the world has happened here to the 6 machine of Brian Underwood? As he came down pit side, he's completed his pit stop. The crew has went to work. I'm not sure if he had to go take a pee break or what may have happened, but for Brian Underwood, that's going to slide him back into about the 18th position. And for our back-to-back champion here in the series, what does this mean for him? Does this potentially knock him out of our playoffs in the first round here this year. We do see the 47 ride as the Marines Machine the Mission 22 ride heads down pit side here, unfortunately for that 47. Looks like he's gotten into a fence somewhere, has gotten some pretty sizable damage. He'll get that thing quick repaired and ready to try to roll back out onto the racetrack for Brian Underwood. Unfortunately, still down pit road, and it looks like for Underwood, this may be huge. This may be an absolutely heartbreaker here for that 6 machine. He's just got to hope that he's got enough points banked up, that he's got enough of a gap that he will not have to worry about that points differential, that he won't have to stress about potentially not being able to make it into the next round of these playoffs. And that is a very, very big question here, because it is a very big possibility that he may be eliminated here this evening with a poor performance and still being down pit road. Does not look like he's rolling back into the racetrack, unfortunately, here for Brookover and Michael Ware. If there's 4 drivers that get eliminated here from our playoffs, it could very well be Brian Underwood being one of those 4. Chris Kent's obviously not here tonight. He's on the outside looking in. Same with Brookover and Michael Ware as of right now for Underwood. With this bad run here, this could definitely make things very, very interesting here to finish off our first round of these playoffs. A newcomer here to the series, still out in front, it's Sean Merriman. Merriman out in front, continue to lead the way as Merriman has that race lead, looking to try to keep everyone else back there at bay. He now has about a 1.7 second gap between himself and Brandon Dayhoff. Now Dayhoff does have 1 lap better tires that could make a difference later in the run. We'll have to wait and see if he can close that gap, if he can reel in the 81 ride and give himself a shot at potentially picking up the win here this evening. Brad Neer there in third for Neer. Great run for him as Brandon Holder back there in position number 4. All of our top 4, all new drivers here in this season. All 4 drivers new to the series virtually, and they're all up here putting on a show at the front of the pack here. Josh Crider, first of our regulars here, back in that 5th position, trying to lock himself in to the next round of the playoffs. So isn't Danny White, who rolls there in 6th. Sean Wilder back in 7th. Another newcomer here to this season is sitting there in 7th with Ben Gleason, a regular, one of our playoff drivers, there in 8th. Bren Brewer, Jordan Crider, our top 10 out there on the speedway. Now for Jordan Crider, Jordan had come down pit road quite a bit later than everybody else, but I do believe he had a much quicker pit stop for the 33 ride. So I'm not sure if he took fuel only there on that pit stop or if he did get tires. And I'll have to wait and see if he did take tires right there, or if he didn't. We'll see if he falls backwards or moves forwards. We see Andrew Floyd back in 11th. Dustin Sleitler back there in 12th. Wyatt Youngblood back in position number 13 right now. Farrell Robbins, last week's winner, already punched his ticket into the next round of the playoffs. He's back there in that 14th position for Gaston. He is the first car 1 lap down, currently scored back in the 15th position with Kevin Calkins, William Elmore, Brian Underwood, who's down pit side, and for Nathan Brookover, Michael Ware, and Scott Healy, they are down behind pit wall and potentially out of this race. I'm going to be very interested in wondering what in the world happened here to the 6th rider, Brian Underwood, as he has kind of just disappeared here from this race. He was battling hard. He was up inside the top 5, top 10, racing hard here for what could have been a great finish this evening. And unfortunately, now we see Underwood just still parked down pit side. Not rolling out there on the racetrack now, at least 9 laps down, and pretty much ending his night and his chances of a good finish here this evening is out in front. Sean Merriman looking to try to hold up Brandon Dayhoff. His Dayhoff back there in position number 2. Brad Neer right there near him as you see the 31 of Brandon Holder, Josh Crider, Danny White, Ben Gleason. They're all right here in this pack. They're all virtually nose to tail out there on the racetrack, ready to duke it out here for what could be a tough battle for that 3rd position, as they got about almost 5 seconds between themselves and our race leader. So between the 7 right of Brad Neer, it is about 3.2 seconds between him and our second place driver, Brandon Dayhuff, and then it's about a 4.8 second gap between him and our race leader, Sean Merriman. So Merriman still with a massive lead, a massive advantage between himself and our third place driver and beyond. Not as big of a gap between himself and Brandon Dayhuff, but still a comfortable lead here with only 15 laps left to go here in this feature event. You gotta be feeling pretty good if you're this 81 ride, knowing that you're good on fuel, knowing that your tires aren't too much worse than that car behind you. He pitted a lap later, but really not gonna give up a whole lot to him. In that time around 3 and 4 with a great run, able to stretch that lead out a little bit more. Now to a 1.6 second gap here for Sean Merriman late in this race. That may have been all he needed here to try to keep that 71 ride back there at bay. And for Brandon Dayhuff, he just has to keep his foot in the throttle, keep trying, keep pushing it, keep trying to find a way to close that gap and reel this 81 ride in. And if you're any of the other drivers that are virtually outside the top 2, you just got to hope for a caution flag. You got to hope for something to happen to get yourself back into this battle, as you do see Brad Neer trying to hold off that 5 right of Josh Crider. Crider trying to work his way inside the top 3. Would love to try to join us back up here in the podium as you see Brandon Holder there in 5th. Ben Gleason running through the middle here. He's trying to jump up and take that 6th and 5th position away from Holder and Danny White. Danny's going to continue to battle there to the inside, but he will slide back into 7th. Sean Wilder right there in 8th. They got a 2-second gap back to this 19 ride of Melvin Brenger in the 33 of Jordan Crider. Jordan and Melvin door to door here for the 9th and 10th position. Andrew Floyd back there in 11th with Dustin Slightler, Wyatt Youngblood, Farrell Robbins, our top 14 here on the Speedway. Jonathan Gaston back in 15th with Calkins, Elmore, Underwood, Brookover, Ware, and Healy bringing up the rear of the field here in this one as we inch closer and closer to the checkered flag here today. As Sean Merriman looking to try to keep all these drivers back there behind him and win his first race ever with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. His first race that he's been a part of, and potentially his first checkered flag here in the series. What it would mean for the 81 ride to park himself up here in victory lane, knowing that he's going to be fast, he's going to be competitive, and that he'll have an opportunity to jump out here and try to win some more races before the end of this season and have a good chance at battling and competing for the championship next year. So for the 81, he is hooked up. He is feeling really good right now. Brandon Dayhuff, even though he's back in second, no one likes to be the first loser. He's going to be feeling pretty confident as well. With 10 laps left to go here in this race, 3.5 seconds between himself and Brad Neer in that battle for that 3rd position as that continues to heat up, continues to build up here as Crider continue to work down to his inside, trying to complete that pass. Ben Gleason racing his way up inside the top 5. Gleason rolls right there into that 5th position. Brandon Holder in that 6th spot here on the Speedway. Needed a good run, needed a solid drive here, and potentially earning a solid top 10 run could be all he needed to punch his ticket into the next round of our playoffs. So for the 31 ride, that could be the big blessing in disguise. It may not be the win or the top 3 performance that he was hoping for, but if it's enough to punch his ticket into the next round of these playoffs, then that could be a great break for him. Unfortunately for drivers like Nathan Brookover, Michael Ware, even for Brian Underwood, who's just getting back out onto the racetrack, scored back in the 18th position. For Underwood, going to be some nervous times here, man. You got to hope that you got some good points saved up or that things go your way, and potentially other drivers that are behind you cannot leapfrog you and knock you out of these playoffs. The first round exit is never fun, and especially if you're Underwood, being our back-to-back champion, having an early exit to our playoffs here this year is going to be a hard thing to to swallow here this evening. That'd be a hard pill to swallow if you're that number 6 machine. Is Sean Murrayman, though, out in front, continue to lead the way. He's got the top spot. He's looking to try to keep everyone back there at bay as he's continuing to build that race lead up now. Almost 2 seconds between himself and this number 71 of Brandon Dayoff. And Dayoff has a little bit of lap traffic here. He's got that slightly damaged number 76 ride right there in front of him as we do see Josh Crider. Crider racing his way up and into third here. Ben Gleason right on his back bumper. Here comes Gleason with a big run down to the inside. Both drivers able to get around Brad Neer. Neer slides back into position number 5. Gets up into the outside fence right there. But for Ben Gleason, he's trying to make that move, trying to make that pass, trying to work his way up and into position number 3 here on the Speedway. So now it's Gleason and Crider duking it out for third here on the Speedway. And they're actually starting to reel in this 71 ride. Brandon Dayoff. Dayoff actually looks like he's starting to struggle quite a bit here in this 71 ride. Our guys back here behind him, even though they're door to door and they're slicing and dicing it here for that third position, they were able to reel in that number 71 ride by quite a bit. As now here we go. You see Brad Neer getting back to the inside of the 5 ride as Ben Gleason completes that pass, jumps up into the third position for Neer. His first race here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League as well. Would love to try to cap it off with the top 5, top 3 performance, but now all of a sudden you see Crider with the big run down the back straightaway. Here comes Brandon Holder. Here comes Danny White. Sean Wilder right there ready to pounce as well. As out in front is Sean Murrayman, who continues to lead the way down and across the line. For the 81, it's only 4 more laps left to go. Inviting a late race caution flag or potential big mistake out of this 81 machine. He should have this one in the bag. He's on cruise control right now. He is just reeling in some more cars to put a lap down. The next one up is Wyatt Youngblood. Looks like Youngblood will move up the racetrack, roll out of the throttle, allow our race leader to get by him. Unfortunately for Wyatt, that will put him a lap down here this evening. As last week's top 3 performance for the 18 ride, unfortunately not backed up here by a great run, but not a bad run there for the young driver as Youngblood falls a lap down back in the 13th position. For Sean Murrayman, though, out in front, almost 3 seconds between himself and Brandon Dayoff. Dayoff now only has about 2.2 seconds. He's lost over a second and a bit here to our third-place driver, Ben Gleason. So Gleason is hunting him down here and pulling farther and farther away from Josh Crider. Crider trying to hold on to 4th now as Brandon Holder trying to get around him. You see the 7 ride bouncing off the fence again as there's Danny White and the 99 ride. Sean Wilder right into the mix. A little farther back, you see Melvin Brengerer in that 33 of Jordan Crider. Jordan came in tied at the last place in points here coming into this race. Needs a good run, needs to be able to gain a bunch of points on some drivers to try and work his way back into potentially a spot to work his way into the next round of the playoffs. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it or not. We'll have to wait and see. But right now, Sean Murrayman out in front will around corner number 4. And for the newcomer, the 81, the first one down and across the line to see the white flag fly. He's got 3.2 seconds between himself and Brandon Dayoff. Dayoff back there in that second spot. He's still got about 2 seconds between himself and Ben Gleason. So he's on cruise control right now. Knows he can't catch our race leader. He can keep that 66 ride of Gleason back there at bay, though, as here we go for the final time down into corner number 3. Nice and easy out of corner number 4. It is the Dr. Pepper Metallica number 81 of Sean Murrayman, who picks up the checkered flag here in Homestead-Miami Speedway's Premium Stock Car Racing League's first elimination race of the playoffs. Unfortunately, a couple of drivers will be eliminated from our playoffs here this evening. We'll have to wait and see the official points to make that call and to make that decision. But for right now, we do know Sean Murrayman picking up the checkered flag, his first ever start here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. No better timing because obviously it's a track that he is very, very good at, as he will be able to pick up the win here this evening in his first race with the series, his first up here in the series. What a run, what a drive there for this 81 machine as he'll get ready to celebrate here on the front straightaway. Brandon Dayoff back there in second, and Ben Gleason will round out our top 3 here this evening. Josh Crider, Brandon Holder, our top 5 with Brad Neer, his first race here. Solid run there for the 7 ride. Sean Wilder, Danny White, Melvin Brenker, and Jordan Crider going to round out our top 10 as we'll get ready to pull in our race winner and the rest of our top 3 here for their post-race interviews. Here this evening, man, is what a run, what a drive, what a performance out of this 81. We'll get him and the rest of our top 3 up and into the booth for post-race interviews in just a couple more seconds. We'll see if we get them in there right away and see if we can get them in here for some post-race interviews. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our race winner, Sean Merriman, picking up the checkered flag. Let's get him up here into the booth. Hey, Sean, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Sir, I gotcha.
Sean, man, what a run, what a drive, man. Take us back through this one. Is obviously your first race here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, and boy, oh boy, did it ever work out nicely for you. Is there the first one to be able to jump up here into victory lane? As that was a hell of a performance for you, man. Take us back through what's going through your mind right now as all these drivers back there behind you are going to be a little bit envious, especially knowing that this is a playoff race and an elimination race, and you're able to jump out there and show them up.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, I saw the post on one of the iRacing Facebook groups I'm on the other day, and so 98% of the reason I joined was because I saw ARCA Cars Homestead, and honestly, ARCA Cars at Homestead is probably my best track car combination on the entire sim. So I knew long race. I love long races. This not knowing anybody in here, anything about the league, anything about how it's run. I mean, it was a super clean race, super fun. Good racing, good clean. It's hard to find some good, well-run leagues sometime on here, but yeah, I had a blast. Obviously, winning helped, but I think I might stick around with these guys because I felt like it was a good race, clean race, and these guys have a nice, really fun, nice league here.
Yeah, absolutely. A great group of drivers, a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, and yeah, always growing, always bringing in more guys. Even though we're in our playoffs, still bringing in new drivers, making it that much more fun, making it that much more competitive, and obviously bringing that edge here to each and every one of our playoff races. And I'm not sure if you knew it was an elimination race, if it was a playoff race here this evening or not, as this was your first race here in the series.
I knew it was a playoff race. I did not know it was an elimination race, but in general, I try to race clean as can be, so I wasn't coming in here to mess anything up for anybody. Anytime I was running side by side, I try to give as much room as possible because I didn't know who I was racing or what their season situation was looking like. Definitely did not want to screw that up for anybody. Just try to be as clean and safe a driver as I could be tonight with these guys, and hopefully nobody's mad at me. But,
I don't think so. Well, I mean, they all might be mad at you because you were able to pick up the win, but I think that's more of just envy and not probably anger. But, man, that was, yeah, definitely a very, very exciting race, and we talked about that situation for you, knowing that, you know, it's a playoff race. I wasn't sure if you knew it was an elimination race or not, but just knowing that being a playoff race and you got to battle with these guys, man, and how much extra stress that can add into it, even though you're fast and you got a car to win. Sometimes we see a lot of drivers kind of just roll out of it or give it up late in the race or not push to be in those battles, to be in those positions where, you know, a lot of guys get a little bit nervous, a little bit, you know, just cautious, knowing that if you made that mistake, if you slipped up, if you caused an issue, and it's a playoff driver, that, you know, it just, you know, obviously going to suck for you, it's going to suck for them, and you don't want to start off, you know, your series and your season with these guys, you know, on the wrong foot. So, I mean, I think you did a very, very good job, man, but how did you have to handle that? How did you have to go through this race knowing that you just didn't want to be in that wrong place at the wrong time?
Yeah, Homestead, I'm a bottom feeder. I was taught, when I first jumped on the sim, I was awful here. I asked somebody a question, they said, you run the bottom, you save tires, so I don't come up off the bottom. If there was anybody outside of me and I was pushing up, I'd back off. I would hate to be wrecked. I would hate for the shoe to be on the other foot and somebody come in and mess up my night racing their guts out for a race that really has no meaning to them. So I would that would be the last thing I would do to any of these guys out here. Not whether it's the guy leading the championship or the guy in 15th. I don't know who's who, but I would not do anything to mess up anybody's night. I will wreck myself before I wreck anybody else. So I kind of wasn't really too worried about messing anybody's night up. I knew just if I felt like something was going to happen, I just rolled out of it and kept myself as far away from anybody as possible. And it worked out. We got a nice long run there at the end where didn't have to deal with the green white check or anything, where everybody gets stacked up, and then anything can happen at that point. But uh, yeah, I'd say 100 times I will not wreck anybody, mess anybody's night up, and hopefully, like you said, that might be mad because I won, but nobody should be mad that I raced them too hard or anything like that.
Absolutely, man. It's all in good fun, and it was just a great night of racing action, and you did it the best way you can, and obviously you wanted to keep yourself away from some of those playoff drivers, wanted to give them enough room. Well, you definitely did, as you're able to cross the start-finish line here in position number 1, a 3.2-second lead between yourself and Brandon Dayoff, and able to put yourself up here into the Homestead-Miami Speedway victory lane, your first race here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, and your first win here in the league as well, man. Absolutely amazing accomplishment, absolutely amazing race, Sean. Who would you like to thank for such a great performance here tonight?
I got to thank the league admins who I do not know yet, but I will learn. But like I said before, I mean, it was super fun, clean race. It sounds like they prioritize green flag racing, clean racing, which is right up my alley. So thank those guys for what they do and the league they run here. Thank you for broadcasting. Obviously, it makes it a lot of fun to be able to send the link out to family and friends and let them watch me race like I'm some kind of professional or something. But uh, broadcasting broadcasted leagues are always a lot of fun. My wife for giving me peace and quiet so I can get on here and play some computer games for a little while, and my 16-month-old son for going to bed easy so I could actually get on here and race every night.
Absolutely, brother. Well, hell of a run, hell of a drive, Sean. Hopefully we see you back in action and back out here whooping their butts again next Saturday night, man. Hell of a drive, hell of a run, brother, and hopefully we'll get you right back up here into the broadcast booth next week.
Appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here to our newcomer and our newest first-time winner here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League, the number 81 of Sean Merriman. As Merriman picks up the win, hopefully I'm saying that right. I could be getting it wrong. I probably should have asked him there before I dropped him at the Discord call on how he actually pronounces it. Hopefully I'm getting it right, or at least close enough, as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place driver, the 71 ride of Brandon Dayoff. Dayoff comes home in position number 2. Let's pull this 71 ride up and into the broadcast booth for his post-race interview. Hey, Brandon, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you need a copy?
I got you.
Brandon, man, heck of a run, hell of a drive here in this one, man. Obviously, a lot of back and forth, a lot of strategy, a lot of green flag laps, and then late in this one, it comes down to those green flag pit stops. You're able to get down there nice and easy, get a good pit stop in. Unfortunately, being that one lap later, you give up a bunch of time to that number 81 ride, and Sean's able just to have that good enough gap on you. You trying to reel him in there. I'm not sure if you started to burn those tires up, trying to hunt him down, as we saw you close the gap there to almost a second, and then all of a sudden the car just started to fade away there at the end. It looked like maybe you either gave up on it knowing that you couldn't catch him and you didn't want to, put yourself into a bad position, or hoped for a late race caution flag where you'd have maybe a little bit more juice than he did with the yellow, knowing that that could give you the extra bit to win this race, or how this one kind of played out there for you at the end. But nonetheless, it was a great start qualifying on the pole and a great finish here, still coming home in second, man. Take us back through it and what's kind of going through your mind.
Oh yeah, I was a little disappointed myself, but overall it was a great night. Like you said, that was the mistake. Was I went in a lap later. I should have went with them, but I had too much speed. I would have regretted it. I tried to went with them. So unfortunately, I gave over that time, and yeah, it burned up my stuff trying to catch them. But I did realize it's like that's not happening. You might as well try to preserve second before I push it through hard to give up more time to the 66 that was closing in behind me, which that worked out to help me keep my distance from evenly from first and third to secure my second place. Yeah, I try to hold back as much as I can throughout the whole race, just to try to save my stuff, and I got a little too ambitious at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to push it. Obviously going for that win. Trying to get it done here in this one. But Sean just hooked up here this evening. And obviously we saw Gleason coming there at the end. Crider, Holder, all these guys trying to hunt you down and trying to steal that second spot away from you. But you're able to just kind of stay right in that pocket. Keep yourself in a bit of a safe zone there. Not too close to be able to steal the win away from Sean and put the pressure on him. But not, far enough back that Gleason and these guys are able to go after you and try to steal this solid second place performance away from you, man. Who would you like to thank, though, for such a great run and great performance out there on the racetrack?
I'd like to thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So without him, I wouldn't be here. I'd like to thank you up here in the broadcast booth, the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And I'd like to thank my wife for letting me do this. I'd like to thank my team at Holy Bible Racing, Sean and Michael Ware. They had a little trouble today, but I was able to pull a podium finish for the team, so they can feel good about that. I'd like to thank my coworkers and friends watching.
Beauty. Well, Brandon, hell of a run, hell of a drive here this evening. So you parked that 71 right up on the podium. A solid second place performance here this evening, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there on the racetrack next Saturday and potentially one spot better and back up into victory lane.
Here's hoping.
Beauty. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Brandon Dayhoff. Dayhoff comes home in position number 2 here this evening. Solid run, solid drive there for the 71 machine. As now we'll get ready to pull in our third place performer, the 66 of Ben Gleason. Hey, Ben, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Do you get a copy?
Yes, sir.
Man, another great run, another solid drive for you, man, as you park it up here in that third position. Take us back through this race. What's going through your minds? We saw you making some late race charges there, working yourself around Holder, Crider, Brad Neer, and all these other guys that were kind of right in that mix there for a little while, man. It was looking really, really racy there throughout that green flag run, and late in this one, you're able to push through and jump up into third.
Yeah, I finally caught that pack there. I don't know with how many laps to go, maybe 20 laps to go. And it was work to get through there. When you're side by side, it's really hard to make those passes, especially on the bottom. I tried, and I was eventually able to do it with a couple of slide jobs, but I don't prefer to race that way. But early on in the race, I mean, as you saw, I got I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know if I came up the track or if Danny came down or both, but I got turned and had massive damage. Somehow I was able to stay on the lead lap. So it was a eventful night.
Yeah, definitely an eventful night. Obviously, working yourself up through the field there, getting into a good position throughout that first run, and then obviously, getting tied up there with Danny, getting some big damage there. You guys, luckily enough, as you said, stay on the lead lap. You're able to use that quick repair, able to keep yourself in the battle here this evening, and here you are late in this one, jumping up onto the podium, and obviously earning some big points here this evening. How does that feel? Getting another good run, another great performance, and trying to escape potentially a first round elimination here in the playoffs.
Oh, it feels really good. I mean, anytime you get, top 5, it feels good. Top 3 is even better. But like for the most part, I'm very, very happy. I wish my teammate Jordan could have come along with me, but our pit strategies were one lap off, so we got a little bit of separation, and then he just got tied up. So we didn't get to work together there. A little disappointing, but I'm still happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a very, very solid run. A very solid drive for you as you park that 66 up here in the podium inside the top 3 here this evening, man. Who would you like to thank for a great run and a great performance out there on the racetrack?
Well, as always, my wife, my teammates, Josh, and Brian. Actually, I want to say thanks to Sean and Brandon. They did a great job tonight. You, because you did a fantastic job. That's it.
Beauty. Well, I appreciate that, Ben, and appreciate the great performance and great drive out there on the racetrack. A lot of fun to watch you always battling out there week after week after week, man. And we can't wait to see you back in action again here next Saturday night and see if we can get that 66 ride back up here, potentially a couple spots better and into victory lane.
That'd be great. See you then.
Beauty. Enjoy the rest of your night.
You too.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our third place finisher, Ben Gleason. Gleason comes home in third. Solid run, solid drive there for that number 66 machine. Now, let's take a quick look here at our point standings. I can tell you right now who the 6 will be that will potentially be eliminated, or the 4. Sorry, there was 4 drivers that will be eliminated here this evening. I do believe the 4 that will be eliminated, 4 or 2. Those points look a little bit wonky. Round of 8 playoff grid. So a round of 8. There was a lot more drivers that actually got eliminated here in this race. There was 4. Oh man, there was 4 drivers that got eliminated here this evening. Unfortunately, it looks like both Criders miss out on the second round of the playoffs. So 4 drivers get eliminated, and unfortunately, Josh Crider came in and at the end of this one was tied in points. No, I think Josh is still in there. Josh is tied with points with Melvin Branger. So Josh is still in. Okay, so the 4 drivers getting eliminated are Jordan Crider, Nathan Brookover, Michael Ware, and Chris Getz. Man, Jordan Crider gave it everything he had right there. Unfortunately, just a little bit shy of potentially, leapfrogging his brother to steal that final playoff spot. And unfortunately, not close enough here this evening. Not a good enough run there for the 33 ride, but for Jordan Crider, Nathan Brookover, who we saw get tangled up and tore up and taken out of this race here today by the 75 of Michael Ware. Unfortunately for Brookover, Ware, they both, getting tied up together right there on the racetrack, will both unfortunately miss the cutoff line. They will not advance into the next round of the playoffs here this season, and that is a heartbreaker there for them. Let's take a look here at the 8 drivers that will advance into the next round of the playoffs. So there's 8 drivers that will move forward, 8 drivers that will keep on battling here, trying to win the championship. Let's see if we can get that pulled up right now. And so let's put that into the sim. Let's make this a little bit smaller here. I don't know how this is going to line up, but let's take a look at it. There we go. Okay, so you see the names. We don't really need to see the numbers and stuff, but those are the 8 drivers that will duke it out in battle here this season in the round of 8. So Brandon Holder, James Robbins, which is Farrell Robbins, Melvin Branger, Ben Gleason, Joshua Crider, Jonathan Gaston, Brian Underwood, and Danny White will all continue on their championship hunt for Underwood. Great break there for him. We saw how the 6th ride, unfortunately, was down pit side there for so long. Got a very, very bad finish there in this race, and luckily enough, just enough to keep himself in this hunt at the front. And it was actually Brandon Holder, the last driver, to squeeze his way into the next round of the playoffs. So for Brandon Holder, great break there for him, being able to advance into the next round of these playoffs as well. But for Danny White, Underwood, Gaston, Crider, Gleason, Branger, Robbins, and Holder all being able to duke it out and continue their hunt here for the championship, man, is going to be a lot of fun, as Underwood will have the points lead going into this round. He'll have a bit of a gap here between himself and Brandon Holder. Holder actually jumps up as the second place car after some good runs, some good wins in the season. He's got some good bonus points in his back pocket, and then has himself a bit of a gap between Gleason, Robbins, and Danny White. For Jonathan Gasson, he'll be scored in 6th, with Branger and Crider back in 7th. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be a lot of great racing, and our next 2 races before the next elimination are going to make things very, very interesting here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And if you guys don't want to miss out on any of that action, if you guys don't want to miss out on any of the playoff racing here in the tight battles with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, make sure you guys do us a favor. Hit the thumbs up on the broadcast right now. Hit that thumbs up button. Become part of the Peacemaker family as well by hitting that subscribe button. Become a brand new subscriber. Become a brand new member here on Peacemaker Gaming and join in and enjoy the amazing racing and great action here on Peacemaker Gaming. But listen, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love and enjoying some great racing here this evening, and we'll catch you guys back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel.